In today's video, we are going to talk about manifesting a specific person. This is for anybody that's been doing techniques, affirmations, scripting, visualizing, and they just don't seem like they're getting movement. And maybe you'd like clarification on what your goal is. The intention behind this video is to make this very quick, to the point, and applicable so that you can manifest your SP as I manifested my wife back twice. The first time I manifested my wife, it took me about 3 months. And the second, it was about 2.5 months. The reason why it took me that amount of time is because I kept making it a mind thing. My mind was going over what happened. My mind was saying, oh, it's not possible because of this. My mind was bringing up past circumstances. My mind was trying to figure out how I get from point A to point B. My mind was doing a bunch of things that wasn't helpful. So let me start this off by the number one thing you want to do is stop thinking about your SP. I know it sounds crazy. You're like, well, then how do I manifest them? The only thing you're going to allow your mind to think is, what would the feeling be like? I say that it took me 3 months the first time and 2.5 months the second time. But really, it took me about 2 weeks both times. And here's why. 2.5 months into the first time I did it, I stopped making it a thinking thing. I stopped engaging my mind to thinking of the situation and how it could happen, all these things. And I simply went, I don't need SP to agree upon anything. I simply feel as though I'm in a loving relationship now. And I did it just because I loved the feeling like I was in a loving relationship with this person. So you'll notice I don't need permission from anybody to put myself into a state, and either do you. This is the point why we leave the outside reality alone. This is why we don't look for proof and validation outside, is because ultimately why we're doing this is we want the feeling. When I feel loved and I feel satisfied, I am not looking for proof of this state. I feel satisfied. It's only when I don't feel satisfied, it's only when I don't feel loved, do I start looking for outside proof and validation. So we want to stop making this a mind thing, because the mind is simply just going to bring up stuff that probably isn't helpful for you. Now, don't get me wrong. We want to control our thinking. We want to direct our thinking, because if we don't direct our thinking, it will put us into a mood. And the mood is what causes what we don't want to experience or do want to experience. But I want to make this a mind thing as little as possible. The next biggest point is we do not need the 3D. We don't need the outside thing. What we need is the feeling. And although you associate these feelings with this outside object, the truth of the matter is the feeling came from you. There is never a feeling coming from without. You experience everything from within. And so there's no point of getting outside proof and validation. There's no point of needing something outside of me to give me something, as everything came from within me. The feeling I'm wanting comes from within me. And so it's up to me to give myself the feeling. And how do I do this? To make it as simple as possible, to not make this a very difficult thing, which is what the mind does if you spend too much time there. What would the feeling be like? What would the feeling be like if I had the most amazing relationship, if I so deeply loved? And sit there a little bit in kind of a meditation or prayer and contemplate what the feeling would be like. You'll notice very quickly, if you allow yourself to, if you surrender to the idea of it, because remember, you're not changing anything outside of you. You're not making something happen. You're surrendering to a state that exists within you now. So if you allow yourself to play there, what will happen is you will naturally start feeling like you're in a loving relationship. This is the mood. This is what you're shooting for. This is where you want to occupy as often as possible. You give it to yourself. You want to ask yourself this question many times throughout your day. And it's very simple. It's not a complicated thing. Hear a lot of people saying, I'm so exhausted and I've been doing this. That's called force and control. It is an inside thing. You are in control of your inside continuously. You need no helper. You need to ask no one's permission. And all you're wanting is the feeling. So give it to yourself. What would the feeling be like now? Allow yourself to enjoy it, to live there, till you feel like you're in a loving relationship. Then once you feel like you're in a loving relationship, you will no longer, once you come out of prayer or meditation, you'll no longer feel the need for the outside thing, because you feel like you have it. Now we continue to feel this again and again and again until it starts feeling natural. Many call this a Sabbath state. It's very comparable to if you're hungry for your favorite food. Mine's sushi or Italian food. Let's just say Joseph's going to get some sushi or some Italian food. And I go and I have this sensation and I'm man, I'm so hungry for this. I want this. As soon as I eat, that sensation goes away and now I am satisfied. That is very similar to what happens when we feel the wish fulfilled. We feel satisfied. We do this again and again and again until it's natural and we're satisfied that we now have the thing. For many people, what ends up happening is they no longer need the thing anymore, which is ideal because you can't want something that you feel you have. And so to sum this up, we want to make this a mind thing as absolutely little as possible. The only thing we're going to use the mind for is asking, what would the feeling be like? We want to occupy that feeling as often as possible until we feel satisfied that we're now in a loving relationship. We do this again and again until it feels natural that we're in a loving relationship. And you know that it feels natural because you'll no longer want to do the technique of what would the feeling be like, as you don't want to work for something that you feel that you have. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I am now doing live streams on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. You got to be a member in order to join. I'll be answering any of your guys' questions. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and share this information. I always love hearing from you guys. Take care.